The CEO's conclave will be held at 11 o'clock in this hall itself. And the inaugural session will also be held in this hall at 12 o'clock. At present, the MOS is expected between Hall 10 and 11 for the ribbon cutting ceremony for inauguration of the exhibition. That's just for your clarification. Thank you.
हाँ ठीक ठीक।
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. अभी भी आना उनको.
Checking.
You have to check that side. It's okay to check from here. भाई सुनो.
Okay.
Check one, check. Hello.
Check. It works.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. We once again welcome you to India Mobile Congress 2017. Request you all to please settle down. Very shortly, we will begin with the CEO's conclave. Thank you for your patience. We are waiting for the Honorable Secretary DOT. She'll be here any moment. The moment she arrives, we'll begin the session. Thank you.
Amanat.
Good morning, everyone. We begin with our first session, which is the CEO's Conclave. I would now like to invite all the eminent speakers on the stage. Ms. Aruna Sundarajan, Secretary DOT. Mr. Alex Rogers, Mr. Gopal Vittal, Mr. Himanshu Kapania, Mr. Sunil Sood, Mr. Matthew Oman, Mr. Karan Bajwa, Mr. Bini Bansal. I would also like to invite Mr. Rajan Matthews, DG COI, on the stage to please proceed with the session.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very great privilege for us to start IMC 1, which we are expecting to hold every year. And we're hoping that this will be the platform for companies who are operating out of India and who would like to use India as their base, both for manufacturing and for services, as well as for other opportunities in terms of startup, in terms of skills. We are hoping that this will become the platform for these companies and institutions to be present and participate. So with that, we have a slight change in program. The Honorable Prime Minister has called for a cabinet meeting, so a couple of our ministers are there. So we will expect to have the inaugural, where the ministers will participate, commencing at around 12 plus. We will start, therefore, with the CEO conclave of our eminent CEOs and, of course, our DOT secretary. So the issue before the panel of CEOs is about Vision 2020, looking beyond some of the challenges we face into where we can go, because there is so much potential and so much that can be happening here that we just want to look forward in terms of all of the opportunities. So with that, I'm going to start with Mr. Alex Rogers, who is the EVP and President of Qualcomm Technologies. And I understand Qualcomm is also going to be making some critical awards and statements on Make in India. But with that, Alex, let me have you come and make your presentation. And after that, we'll start the CEO discussions.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is certainly my pleasure and certainly my great honor to lead off with a discussion, but I have to get the slide transition. To lead off a discussion on the foundation of the digital economy, focusing on mobile. But I do need the slides.
So, microphone should be fine.
No, to transition the slides.
Oh, the slides. We have the.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to need my glasses to see what we've got here. I'm afraid it's not.
Just tell them when you want to go to the next slide, I think.
There we go. Okay, can we transition it one more, please? And that's back. I'm sorry, but we've jumped ahead quite a bit. Please hold on. Okay, if we can transition to the next slide, please. And one more. And it's out of order. All right, let me start. As the largest technology platform in the world, mobile is fueling the digital economy, providing anywhere and anytime access to each other, to information, and to services that transform our lives. The scale of mobile is unprecedented. There are 5 billion unique subscribers worldwide. There are over 7.5 billion connections worldwide in mobile. Compare this to the global installed base of PCs, which is 1.4 billion at its peak and beginning to decline. The growth worldwide in internet connectivity is all happening in mobile, whichever country you go to. Mobile is transforming how companies do business, how companies interact with consumers and with each other. Mobile has changed how consumers buy products, access services, and access entertainment and news. Mobile is defining and redefining personal relationships, whether we like it or not. And I'm a little bit old-fashioned, so I think I've missed that one. And mobile has democratized the internet. In India, over 90% of internet users access the web through mobile technology. Given the scale and reach of mobile, it is clearly establishing itself as the foundation for economic growth in a digital economy. And let's hold there. We're in sync now. It's perfect synchronization. The evolution of mobile has been rapid. The path from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4G LTE has happened at lightning speed. And believe it or not, there was a time, not that long ago, when people questioned whether consumers would actually be interested in accessing data through their mobile devices. This was literally a debate. Why would they want that? Voice and text messaging is good enough. But fortunately, the believers in the technology and the use case basically said, let's drive ahead, let's build it, and they will come. And that saying has been true in spades with mobile. Now, LTE provides access to streaming video content, social media platforms, application downloads, e-commerce, and more, all while enabling faster data speeds, better user experiences, and very, very importantly, the technology has enabled more capacity on mobile networks. With ongoing 4G developments, we are pushing the boundaries of mobile broadband. Gigabit LTE delivers fiber-like speeds and performance, empowering unique capabilities such as immersive user experiences in AR and VR. Shared spectrum advances open seamless access to unlicensed spectrum and expand the mobile ecosystem to enable new deployments. And LTE IoT also scales down performance to enable new applications and devices. And very importantly, LTE will provide a seamless foundation for 5G. Next slide, please. The technical evolution of mobile has driven faster data rates and greater capacity at lower costs. Since 2003, data speeds in mobile have increased over 100x. At the same time, the cost per gigabit has decreased nearly 100x, and we will get there. This translates into lower tariffs that make mobile data and services more affordable and more accessible. In India, we're seeing tariffs for 4G priced at 3G rates, and obviously, the consumer gets so much more with the 4G experience. This is one of the great accomplishments of the underlying fundamental mobile technology. We have advanced through releases of 3G and 4G cellular standards, and the technology underlying those standards have made wireless data more available, faster, and cheaper. The underlying technology is an essential ingredient for the democratization of broadband connectivity. And it's an essential ingredient for the fueling of the digital economy. Next, please. Always on, anywhere connectivity. The smartphone is the handheld computing and communications device that has changed the way we access and share content, take photos and videos, and reach across the world. With an installed base of over 3.5 billion users, the smartphone is the world's largest innovation platform. The capabilities it aggregates have given rise to a host of companies and mobile services, OLA and PayTM, and enabled others to expand their reach dramatically: YouTube, Facebook, Flipkart, Amazon. With tremendous scale and continuing innovation, we are driving more affordability and more accessibility. The smartphone is a true mass market product. The smartphone is the first point of access to the internet for many, often the first and only computing device for many, and that's certainly true here in India. A recent CMR survey stated the smartphone is the single most important transformative tool that has swept the nation. In the survey, 87% say it improves work efficiency. 66% say it improves quality of life. 54% say it improves their economic condition. 43% say they access government services through their smartphones. And 76% of people surveyed in India say it just makes life more fun. Next, please. We're entering into a new technology phase, the Internet of Things, and billions of devices will become intelligently connected. From medical to industrial to automotive to agricultural to retail, IoT transforms industries, and it will empower new services, new businesses, and new experiences. There are a number of technologies that will enable communications in IoT, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, other radio communications, but cellular mobility will certainly play a critical role. With its reach, its scalability, its flexibility, mobile uniquely is situated to enable IoT use cases. With over 1 billion devices shipping annually, no other technology matches its scale. With constant innovation, driving new releases of essential cellular standards and related technologies, no other technology matches mobile's incredibly rapid development cycles. And those new developments penetrate the market at an incredible pace because of the tremendous demand that exists in the market. Also, in mobile, there has been developed a tremendous amount of expertise in highly integrated and optimized solutions to meet new use case demands, smaller form factors, higher performance, longer battery life. The mobile and IoT is a tremendous opportunity for everyone, including companies here in India, especially Indian startups. They can participate in the creation of IoT, but equally, they can participate in the creation of businesses and commerce built on the platform. Next, please. Qualcomm views 5G as a unifying connectivity fabric. We are moving from connecting people to connecting everything. Mobile networks will take on a much broader role, enabling new connected services across an array of different use cases. 5G will interact seamlessly with 4G networks, leveraging current investments in 4G technologies. And 5G is being developed with a view toward unparalleled scalability and adaptability to accommodate yet-to-be-imagined use cases. In addition to enhanced mobile broadband with multi-gigabit rates, 5G will enable mission-critical services with ultra-low latency, enhanced security. And 5G will enable massive IoT, setting the path for smart cities, smart homes, and smart wearables. In 2035, the full economic impact of 5G across many industries could exceed $12 trillion US dollars in goods and services and account for tens of millions of jobs. Next, please. To sustain innovation, you have to protect and reward invention. The Startup India campaign recognizes this in many ways, including fast-tracking patent examination for applications submitted by startups. In the EU, nearly 35% of employment stems from industries that have a higher than average use of IP protection. And across 60 countries and 150 years of data, countries that have strong IP protection were found to be significantly wealthier in terms of total GDP and income per capita. Economies with robust IP environments yield 50% more innovative output compared with economies with IP regimes that are in need of improvement. Next, please. With its market, its engineering talent, its innovative spirit, its entrepreneurial drive, and government support, India is uniquely positioned to build a mobile-powered digital economy. It has all the necessary ingredients. Effective government campaigns such as Make in India have fostered the assembly of mobile devices in India, but there is more. India is accelerating 4G at a very rapid pace. 4G connections will grow threefold in the next few years. India is the fastest growing smartphone market with intense competition. Well over 100 brands operate in India. 1,500 different mobile phone models were launched in India in 2016. And of course, India has seen a rapid rise in digital service through mobile. Among G20 nations, India is the leader in terms of internet usage by mobile devices. These trends have created a great ramp towards the next step in the evolution of mobile and the digital economy it will fuel. Next, please. India is well positioned to continue on the path from Make in India to Design in India, certainly when it comes to mobile. India contributes fundamental research and development in many industries, and the same can and will be true in mobile. A foundation in core mobile research and development empowers the design and creation of better and more competitive products, and continuing efforts in mobile innovation enables deeper collaboration and partnerships that are needed to build a better ecosystem, from mobile devices to more efficient networks to businesses and services that will be built on mobile capability. Next, please. So Prime Minister Modi said it best. He said, "I dream of 1.2 billion connected Indians driving innovation." And Qualcomm shares that dream and has for some time. Qualcomm has been proud and honored to partner with India over the last 2 decades of tremendous innovation in mobile. And we look forward to the next 2 decades of innovation and partnership through 4G, into 5G, and into future generations of mobile technology. And we certainly look forward to the promise of developing mobile together as a foundation for the prosperous digital economy in India that we're certain will be realized. Thank you very much.
Hi, Alex. Thank you very much for your presentation. Democratization of connectivity Wow, that's something that we're all looking forward to in terms of what that means. So let me start off with our Honorable Secretary, DOT, Mr. Sundarajan. Aruna, you have been pushing for Vision 2020 along with the Minister, Mr. Sinha, very much in terms of taking India forward. Share with us what's on your mind in terms of some of these things that you're dreaming about, thinking about, hoping about. So over to you. Microphone, please. No, you're fine there. We'll get the microphone.
So I think already the first speaker has laid out a very exciting vision for what India can hope to achieve or accomplish over the next 3 to 4 years. From the Government of India's point of view, I think the vision would span 4 axes. And I think the first part of that would be to connect the unconnected, because we still have a substantive part of the country which needs the kind of aspirational services that the rest of urban India is getting. So connecting the unconnected and serving the unserved would be the first axis. The second one would be to ensure that every Indian has access to the best products and services. We know that today the mobile is way more than a mobile for India. And it's far beyond a mobile, just a mobile. It is virtually the one device or mechanism that connects each Indian to another 1.2 billion. It is also the single most important mechanism by which most Indians can access the entire world of modern technology. And therefore, the kinds of products and services that they aspire to have, and here I will quote Rajan Anandan, who's sitting here, because he's always talking about India's big challenge being to move beyond the 100 million being the urban Indians who have almost all the latest devices, the latest products and services. But we need to ensure that over the next 3 to 4 years, using the mechanism of the mobile, which is almost ubiquitous, we're actually able to deliver quality education, quality healthcare, access to the latest banking products and services, e-commerce. All of this needs to be got out there to the remaining 800, 900 million. The third axis, I think, which is a very, very strong focus for the government currently, is Make in India, because we need to generate jobs. The entire telecom sector and the mobile ecosystem is already a huge job creator. But we also need to move up the value chain into manufacturing. So how can we establish India as a manufacturing hub, not just for India, but in fact for the rest of the world? Because we have deep capabilities, we have the skills, we have the champion entrepreneurs. So how do we actually get manufacturing to happen? That will be the third axis. And the last one will be, can we, putting together these great capabilities, really be out there, emerge as a global telecom leader, which we are already in some senses. But in terms of creating the next generation of IPR, as we move into the world of new technologies, AI, robotics, IoT, M2M, and all these areas, can India, and how will India come to acquire a leadership position? I think this is the vision, and I think given the kind of champion industry leaders that we have here, and given the kind of strong leadership that the government is committed to providing, I do foresee that there's a very exciting time ahead.
Thank you, Aruna. 3 things you highlighted that are sort of key key to us. Obviously, connectivity to the 1 billion plus of our citizens, make in India, and of course, the big thing, take our position in the global marketplace. So with that, may I go over to Gopal? Gopal, tell us from your perspective what you're seeing as we look over the horizon a bit.
Yeah, I think we're at the cusp of a massive revolution. We have 300 million smartphones today in India, and I think in the next 3 to 4 years, we will get up to 1 billion smartphones. And I think three things are driving this. One is consumption. India is a young country. There are over 400 million young Indians, all of whom are exploring, curious, looking to embrace new technologies. The second is the economics. Economics of both the device. I mean, a year ago, a 4G device was about 5,000 rupees. Today, that's down to almost 3,000 rupees, and the computing power is much better. The device storage is almost 10x of where it was. And the third force that is actually making a big shift today is the industry structure in telecom. From 8 operators, in the next 12 to 18 months, we should be down to 3 plus BSNL. And that is a seismic shift in the landscape of where this industry is going. Yet, we are poor as a country in terms of broadband infrastructure. We are 136. There is a lot of debt in the industry, about 450,000 crores, a return of capital of about 1%. And all of this is a problem to acknowledge. What do we need to fulfill this dream? I think from an industry standpoint, we need 3 things. We need massive investments over the next few years. Investments that really take mobile broadband across the country and build networks that India is truly proud of and is amongst the best in the world. Over the last 2 years, from our perspective as Airtel, we have invested more than what we have done in the last 20. Wow. And the network has more than doubled in the last 2 years, and I think it will double once again in the next couple of years. The second thing that I think is required is outstanding customer experience. Our networks need not just to be rolled out, but we need to manage them on a day-to-day basis. Tools, self-optimizing networks, increased digitization of networks, more and more stuff done on the cloud is going to become par for the course. And the third thing that is required is as an ecosystem, while the telecom industry is at the center of it, a lot of innovation is happening around. And we need to go and solve genuine problems, like the Secretary mentioned, whether it's problems of education, problems of delivery of healthcare, entertainment is of course done, financial services, and all of that. And I think the task is cut out. I believe that we are in a very, very exciting stage, and like I said, at the cusp of a massive revolution. From the government's perspective, I think there are 2 pieces of help that the industry could do with. One is the ease of doing business. I know there are several papers that the government is engaged in to actually improve the ease, but we still find great difficulty, for example, in right-of-way to lay fiber. We find it very difficult to get access to government buildings. It's a painful process. We find the mergers and acquisition policy, while it is out there, the pace at which it happens is a challenge. And all of this, I think, needs to be streamlined because we've got to get on with the business of investment and rolling out networks. The second thing I would say is the financial state of the industry. Taxation in this industry is extremely high at about 29 to 32%. The cost of spectrum is amongst the highest in the world, and tariffs being the lowest in the world. And all of this, I think, needs to change if we are truly to take this dream and this vision of digital India, which we're all very inspired by and all excited about, because it's not just about what happens to our businesses, but it's truly about making a meaningful contribution to our society.
Thank you, Gopal. If I could go over to Sunil. Sunil, a transition point here. Gopal talked about consolidation as kind of one of the keystones, and here you are, in the seat of that, But again, in terms of 2020, Gopal highlighted this as one of the outcomes of what's going on in our country. Among other thoughts that you may have, share with us, Sadan.
Thank you, Rajan. First of all, it's my privilege to share my thoughts on this maiden edition of the IMC. For a sector, telecom, which contributes about 6% of the GDP of the country, it's about time we had our own flagship program, and I must congratulate Rajan, you, COI, and DOT, the government for enabling this and conceptualizing and executing this. Thank you. I'll just go a little step further. I won't repeat the points already made about the potential of this industry as well as what's required. I'll say a step further. I'll say the future success of our country on the world stage is highly dependent on the future success of the telecom industry. And let me tell you why. You look at all the new emerging technologies, whether it's big data, artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, convergence, they're all dependent on this connectivity layer, the connectivity layer that telecom provides. In fact, we are proud of our new startup industry. We have about 4,000 startups. But what do startups disintermediate through? A lot of them disintermediate through the digital processes and, again, through this connectivity layer. And therefore, for our country to succeed, it is essential that the telecom sector does well. And does well, why? Because it not only benefits telecom, but as I said, this sector permeates across industries and fosters innovation and growth across all other industries. So as Gopal mentioned, the future of health, the future of manufacturing, the future of education, all could be dependent on this layer. And therefore, the right enabling policies, the right way to nurture and grow this industry is key for the success of our country and for us to arrive at the rightful stage in the world. That's what I'd like to add.
This responsibility and create a global stage to convert this vision into reality. I'm very hopeful that this will become an annual event and it will grow much bigger from where we have started. And this will not only be an India event, but probably a the Asia event, and maybe after Barcelona and maybe after Shanghai, this will be the event where the world will look forward as far as mobility is concerned. And why not? India has 1.2 billion mobile users, and it is going to be at the forefront to take its necessary position. But the reason I thought I'll stand up and talk about is, while it is important to talk about Vision 2020, it is also important to talk about the big elephant that's in the room and nobody is talking about. So I thought, let's use this forum to be able to discuss this. There is no doubt that India's role in emerging world global order cannot be emphasized enough. There is a tremendous economic energy unleashed by India over the last few years and has placed us amongst the fastest growing economy. Indian telecom has been vital driver for this economic growth in our country. Over the last 2 decades, wireless industry, especially the private sector, has built the finest and the widest service infrastructure in form of mobile voice highway, and today connects over 5 lakh towns and villages across Bharat. With an investment of over 7.5 lakhs in mobile voice infrastructure alone, Indian mobile telecom industry has emerged as a force multiplier in connecting the unconnected by expanding wireless voice connectivity from an abysmal low level. I've spent 22 years in this sector, and it was 7 years back that India had only 200 million, and we've added 1 billion people in the last 7 to 8 years. That has been the rise of India in the last 2 decades. This is translated to major economic benefit, and Sunil mentioned, I believe that 3% of the economy directly is connected to telecom, and it's several percentage point is indirect, both in terms of economic activities as well as jobs. But I was talking about the elephant. I think the recent market development has drastically altered the dynamics of the industry, resulting in sector passing through a phase of severe financial as well as mental stress. The introduction and subsequent proliferation of bundled unlimited usage plans, outcome of lack of effective regulatory intervention, has had a deep impact on realization rates for the industry. No industry can survive if mobile voice tariffs have fallen by half in 1 year, but data tariffs have fallen by 1/10 to 1/15 just in a span of 1 year. So both mobile voice and data, which were already acknowledged as one of the lowest in the world, are today plummeted to levels which are below cost. The announced interconnect usage charges will further deplete the industry of its investable funds besides creating inter-operator imbalances on account of high traffic asymmetries. The fault lines are already evident, with industry having to register, first time in its history, a degrowth of approximately 2% in financial year 2016-17. Industry forecast for this year has a decline anywhere between 10 to 12%, including the impact of 58% reduction in IOC, which will aggravate the financial stress of the sector. Undoubtedly, this will also impact the long-term competition structure of the industry, as was being mentioned by Gopal. Moreover, it is very evident that the government revenue collection from this sector will be hit adversely. But this is not only, while this is happening on the financial stress, infrastructure building process continues undisturbed. Large-scale introduction of mobile broadband services by most telecom operators, the Indian mobile telecom is gearing for a big transition of 4G services. Rajan mentioned that there is 100 million customers who use internet services. I would say it's around 150 million customers. And there is nothing that can stop in the next 2 to 3 years, by 2020, that at least 500 to 600 million Indians will be using internet services, and mostly all of them on 4G. And hopefully, the 4G services will yield a revenue per customer at somewhere between 175 rupees to 200 rupees, from a current level of below 100 rupees. However, this shift in India, we cannot forget today, there is going to be 900 million Indians who use 2G networks for their connectivity and deliver only 80 to 100 rupees customer. These 2G and 3G networks serve the lifeline of mass market and rural India by enabling connectivity as low as 10 rupees per month. The tepid revenue growth prospects of the industry in near term, coupled with alarming threat of higher NPAs, will curtail industry's ability to invest. With 58% drop in incoming call settlement rate to 6 paisa, the subsidy element for the poorest of the 500 million Indians who today use mobile services in deep rurals of UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bengal, Assam, Northeast, and who have thrived on pure incoming calls or have spent for mobility only 10 to 20 rupees, are looking forward for subsidy to be continued by the 2G operators, which itself are not in a position to give any more subsidies. So the challenge today for Vision 2020 is that Government of India has to decide that does it want only to have forward-looking technology, or will it allow coexistence of 2G with 4G? And this is an important element because the TRAI has clearly pushed us to a level that only one technology survive and all older technologies to close down. In such a challenging scenario, we believe there's an urgent intervention and support required from Telecom Ministry in form of reasonable package that can help in elevating current financial stress in the sector. Mobility industry remains one of the most taxed sector, as Gopal mentioned, multiple levies, including license fees, spectrum use charges, GST, aggravating to nearly 28 to 30%. Rationalization of taxes, reducing GST to 5% as its essential services and serve the poorest section of Indian society, lowering spectrum use charges, discontinuation of USO contribution for operators who met their rollout obligations are much needed respite and cannot wait any further. Spectrum, the key raw material for mobile telecom services, remains the highest cost element for the industry. And with India having the world's highest spectrum prices, deferment of spectrum payout and reduction of applicable interest rates are immediate steps that needs to be taken. Industry also needs to keenly look forward to telecom industry's new telecom policy 2018, which will propel India towards digitally connected 2020. I'm sure it will encourage mobility to move to what Alex was talking about, convergence, introduction of IoT, M2M services, launch of new technologies, 5G and others. But my big question is, unless you resolve the legacy issue of high cost of spectrum, there is no way we will be always hostage of the past. Future cannot be hostage of the past, and the high-cost spectrum will remain us as a host of the past, and unless that is addressed, we'll never be able to move forward. In spite of this financial stress, okay, while we may have this financial stress, we can continue to have this dialogue. It is no doubt in my mind that the private sector is working at a breakneck speeds to be able to provide world's largest mobile broadband infrastructure on 4G. We expect in the next 3 years, at least 5 lakh 4G BTS to be installed across India, if not more. The massive digital highway will build at least by 3, but if not 4, and I'm including BSNL into it, and they will provide access to not few hundred villages, but at least 400,000 to 500,000 towns and villages, and will provide access of high-speed broadband at what Alex was talking of, 20 Mbps, and most likely 50 to 100 Mbps speeds to 1 billion people, and an excellent rates. And for this, investment of the order of 4 to 5 lakh crores have to be provided. And that 5 lakh crores, which is in this room, has to be as much discussed as the discussion about technology that needs to be deployed. I'm very confident that some of the India's finest and competitive operators will offer pan-India 4G services and voltage services to consumers at affordable prices. We are hoping that it is not below cost. That's all we are hoping. This will be accompanied by significant development in ecosystems. Gopal mentioned about it. It is clearly the 4G capable devices will fall from a current level of $80 and looking at the ecosystem and bring it to a level of $25 to $30, make it far more affordable for Indian masses. The opportunity arising of potential digitization of Indian masses will see the seeds of fast-growing internet economy. We are really looking forward to new startups, digital entrepreneurs, to enter into diverse categories, not what we know only today, but even for tomorrow, entertainment, travel, fashion, information, education, health, logistics, real estate, payment services, and offer newer digital services to consumer services. And telecom sector, mobility sector is going to be the bedrock to be able to help all new entrepreneurs to enter into it. And its impact on economy is going to be much larger than can be seen of the direct taxes that the sector pays. And access to high-speed affordable mobile broadband is going to no doubt spur the digital services ecosystem. And it is not only the new entrepreneur, but the content providers, the aggregators, the IT companies, they will all are going to flourish in the kind of the 5 lakh crores that we're putting up on infrastructure. The economy will kickstart, and our assessment is, our internal assessment is, almost 4 to 5% of growth of economy will be driven by the investment which will be put up on the broadband. Digitization in India will have far-reaching implications for major industries and sectors. Delivery of education and health services will transcend all physical barriers. Public health services will see a transformation enabled through remote health services. Digital wallets will convert cash economy into digital money economy and will bring new segments of customers, such as teenagers and young adults, under domain of financial services. All of us, all the mobile companies who are sitting here are gearing itself to launch to a pan-India payment bank services, and this will leapfrog into banking and access to financial services, financial products like saving accounts, microloans, remittance, insurance, to a large segment of Indians who have, especially in deep interiors, especially in the places that we talked about, in UP, in Bihar, in Jharkhand, in Chhattisgarh, in Madhya Pradesh, Bengal, Assam, deep into interiors, deep rural areas, who have never had access to financial services. We will all be able, we're getting ready to provide this. And it is inevitable that other sectors will not be protected and will disrupt it. Television, music, advertising, logistics are not going to remain the same as it is today, because the broadband services are going to permanently disrupt and allow the Indian masses to move from a current analog lifestyle to digital lifestyle. We also believe that the fixed broadband is going to be a big push with the kind of investment that fiber is happening, especially for enterprise as well as home, and it will enhance consumer choice and catalyze this transition. No doubt, over the next 5 years, The world is going to increasingly move to introduction and deployment of 5G. I see most of our French equipment suppliers have put up excellent stalls on 5G. They'll usher in IoT. I think it looks like a theme for this. M2M services. India, but I believe while we can display everything, India has still some path to travel. Availability of adequate and affordable spectrum is going to be one of the first bridge that needs to be crossed. This can be addressed only after resolution of legacy prices of spectrum, or the future of technology will be doomed to the past high rates. Further, most industry and consumers who just commenced their digital journey, relevant use cases needs to be identified and developed for adoption in the Indian context. A sound business logic will justify another round of investment, post large-scale investment in 4G. Again reminding you, another 5 lakh crores is being spent in the 4G. And for 5G investments, we have to have a sound business logic. So while we welcome arrival of new technology and services, regulation has to ensure, and this is where the biggest risk in this country, of providing same service for the same rules, and to be able to create a level playing field for competing services. Indian mobility service industry, I repeat, especially private sector, has steadfast and committed to creation of foundation for next phase of growth. It is creating a robust 4G infrastructure and a hope for a peaceful coexistence with this existing 2G infrastructure, so that it can extend benefits of voice, broadband connectivity, and digital services across not urban, not early adopters, but across length and breadth of the country to 1.2 billion Indians. And for that to happen, we have to address short-term issues, needs to get immediate intervention so that we can overcome the current phase we are passing through. Overall, long-term, forward-looking policies will create pro-investment environment which is going to be equally critical. India has transitioned and commenced its transition to digital economy, but how swift and successful this transition is going to rest on a single factor, which is health of the industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Himanshu. I've been informed that we have just another 10 minutes. All of the participants for the next are here. So I'm going to go over to Mr. Oman. Matthew, obviously you're the new entrant in here. So again, request you keep it a little tight because the participants are here for the inaugural session. But give us your thoughts, and I'll go to the other participants very quickly as well. Matthew, please.
You know, I'm motivated by Mr. Himanshu to stand up. Thank you. And I will be in the 4G speed, so I will do it pretty quick. And if you think about it, first of all, I am excited to be here today as we embark on IMC, because the world is looking as India for transformation. And I don't want to be anywhere else on this planet other than be here, as we can impact, like all the others have said, over 1 billion people directly. Over the last year, we have seen India begin its digital journey. In fact, we've used 4G, if you will, as a vehicle. And I'm glad to hear every operator here today talk about 4G, including VoLTE. What a change in the last couple of months. If you think about it, there was perceptions that 4G and VoLTE and all is a 2019, 2020 phenomenon at the earliest. I'm excited to state that there is commitment from everyone to put the best and the greatest technology for the people of India. And when you look at what has happened from a data perspective, in India, from 20 crore GB, we have gone to 150 crore GB per month. And we have gone from 155th on the broadband index, if you will, to the first in the mobile data usage anywhere in the world. And we are happy about it, folks. We are excited about it as a country. And let me also remind each one of you that when we think about India, when we think about the transformation is in the making. We are doing a new playbook. If you look at what the government, the secretary, the TRI, everyone has done, is we have an Aadhaar, the digital identity. We have UPI and BIM, the payment ecosystem. We have the GST. the tax reform ecosystem. All of this together is what we are calling the new enablement digital ecosystem. So when we keep moving forward into the societal transformation, we absolutely need all the support of each one of us sitting here to make that happen. Why is that? Because the industry, the technology, the policy, and the people, all of these things are going through a fundamental intersection in a new and profound way. But when you think about Global 2020, I think about it beyond connecting the unconnected. Think about it as broadbanding the broadbanded. In fact, it is about delivering meaningful services, servicing the unserviced, if you will. If you look at what our Honorable Minister, our Srimati Aruna, and I have never met this gentleman, Mr. R.S. Sharma. Thank you, sir, wherever you are. But all these people together have created, if you will, a new focus on 5G. The 5G ecosystem, when you think about it, is going to be what people would want us to implement and operationalize. 5G as a friend doll, as a backhaul, along with all the fiber that each one of our operators have put together, along with NOFN, that becomes the basis, if you will, for the broadbanding, the unbroadbanded. 5G, if you will, also becomes a plug and play as an alternative for a new digital connectivity and services platform. To me, that is the new PCO. We all recollect 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was a person sitting everywhere selling STD PCOs. Why shouldn't we have a digital services, connectivity services and platform that can do healthcare, that can do vocational education, that can do e-governance, a few of them in each taluk? This to me is the new Panchayat Raj. This to me is the decentralization of digital enablement and empowerment to everyone. This to me is breaking the digital barrier. This to me is breaking the services barrier for quality of life, for quality of value of services, if you will. The good thing about India, India is a democracy. And we believe in no walled garden. Sorry, Mr. Alex. But with respect to India, we believe in open. We believe in open source and open platforms. In fact, we believe in creating a network platform, an AI and machine learning platform, a cryptocurrency platform, a cybersecurity platform, an IoT platform, all of these in an open source environment so that we can provide the best technology, the best platform to not just the industry, but to every citizen of India, so that the best services at the affordable price. That, to me, is the vision of 2020. It is not about driving the same ambassador. It is not about driving the same Fiat Premier. Imagine an upgrade and an update of an ambassador would have made from diesel to CNG. That's not our Prime Minister has asked us. The Prime Minister, the boldest gentleman that I have seen in the history of India to take India to the next level, said, we are not looking for a change. We are looking for a new India. Gentlemen, Vision 2020. Thank you.
It only gets more interesting from here, so please don't leave after that. So, Matthew, thank you very much. Spoken with evangelical fervor, but we expect that, I suppose. Over to Binny. Binny, you know, Richard Branson once said, you know, if you want to become a millionaire, start with $1 billion and start an airline. And you started with $1 billion, and now I guess things have changed over in the e-commerce side. So please, again, I'm a little constrained for time, but share very quickly what you see in your space as we go forward into 2020.
Yeah, so I think if you look at the evolution of e-commerce in the country, it's really followed the evolution of the telecom sector. 4 years back, only 10% of orders in e-commerce were getting placed on the mobile phone. But today, just from last 4 years, it's gone from 10% to 80%. 80% of all commerce transactions today in the country are happening on mobile phones. The other big trend which has happened again was that 4 years back, 60, 70% of orders were coming from the metro cities, top 6, 7 cities in the country. And again, with the increase of connectivity and the increase of speed of connectivity, especially in the last 2-3 years, what we have seen is most of the growth coming from tier 2, tier 3 towns, as we have also penetrated our supply chain into those towns along with the virtual connectivity. And today, 70% of orders are outside the top 6 metros. And we continue to, and I think if you look at the future, it's going to be about tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 rural, right? And that's what we are excited about. While the virtual connectivity is laid out by all the folks in this room and the speed of connectivity is increased, which is very, very important for e-commerce, we are focused on making sure we are laying out the supply chain connectivity all across India. And today, if 100 million people are buying products online, by 2020, we want to make sure that more than half the country, more than 500, 600 million people have access to the same brands, to the same millions of products that people in metros have, and can buy anything and everything online. And we want to make that happen as connectivity reaches everyone in the country. So that's what we see happening very, very quickly.
Thank you, Beneef, and thank you for keeping it short. So let me wrap up again, just going to Karan. Karan, again, 3 minutes. I'm sorry to push, but if you could just quickly give us your vision, IBM, and what you see for the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajan. Thanks for the pressure. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here, and congratulations for setting up this showcase. The fact we have so many people on stage, as well as the audience, tells me this is a great time. Now, this is a very interesting time of transition for this industry. And we are watching this transition from an interesting vantage point. We work with most of the telecom companies in this country. And as I look at this transition, it's interesting to see some are actually, they defy traditional wisdom, and some defy gravity when it comes to the way they're exponentially growing. It's always tough to predict the outcomes on these transitions. You can't say where this will end, but I'm sure it's going to be full of learnings for everyone. I'm reminded of Clayton Christensen. He said in The Innovator's Dilemma, he said there are two kinds of innovation. There is sustaining innovation and there's disruptive innovation. I almost feel there's going to be a third one, which is going to be innovation in the face of an existential crisis. And we're going to see that play in this country. And this disruption is going to come as much from within the telecom industry as much as it's going to come from outside the industry as well. When I look at the telecom industry, I see two extremities of vision play out from a 2020 standpoint, maybe 2022 standpoint. One is the grand hyperbolic vision where you think of telecom as the enabler of $1 trillion economy and empowering 1 billion people. That's one view of the vision. The second view of the vision, extreme, and I must clarify that, is it's a more sobering vision where the telecom industry mirrors utilities, water, electricity, with the limited opportunities for dramatic value creation. As with utilities, this industry invests massive capex in building infrastructure and OpEx in keeping it up and running. And then you have over-the-top players who come in and monetize through digital offerings. Now, extreme, I'm not sure where it's going to land, but that's two extremes of the vision that we see. It would be naive for us to not acknowledge the sobering version and the fact that the sector faces unprecedented challenges. However, I believe that with some bold, deliberate steps, we can return to the grand version of this whole vision. So I'm going to make 2 points very quickly. One is that the cost structures in this industry can be radically transformed. The second is that ecosystems are huge levers of value creation, which remains largely untapped today, and that's a today statement, and I love what Matthew said about creating platforms, and I'll talk a little bit about that. If you look at cost structures today, it comprises of things that we can't change directly. I'm sure my colleagues on the industry colleagues on the stage would love to see things like spectrum and access charges. We'll see where that goes. But there are things that can radically change, and those things like operational costs, customer service costs, and some of the elements of SG&A. If you take a close look at these categories of costs, you'll see a lot of them are about expertise, are about knowledge, mass personalization, and engagement. These areas are ones that are and can be radically transformed using cognitive systems. So what really has changed here? As with any industry, there has been incremental improvements in cost and productivity, and that's the norm today. Today, cognitive and artificial intelligence, I believe, are a major step changes that are available to businesses. We're seeing unprecedented benefits across these. I'll just give a couple of examples. Cognitive call centers. It's been proven in few environments that you can save 50 to 80% of cost, and actually that amount of work can be handled through cognitive systems. Network call drops, and including engagement with digital natives to an extent that they actually emulate the best of your sales agents. The question really is, how are you going to do it? That's the real question. In my view, winners will have to start early, gain early experience, scale very quickly. My call to the industry always has been, don't innovate on pilots. Disruption is not going to come at you in pilots, so don't have an innovation fund, have a disruption fund, if you will. But that's the scale that you will have to innovate on. The next point is on value creation, and Matthew did a fabulous job of talking about value creation that the telecom companies can do. It's also a tricky one, because sometimes it's amazing to see how some of this intuition is hiding in plain sight. What do you think is the largest asset the telecom companies have today? How many businesses in the world have 200 million subscribers, users businesses that they are touching today, and have a kind of sales, distribution, and service network to serve the length and breadth of this country? Not many. The new value-based opportunity for the telco is ecosystems. To turn around this asset and the associated sunk investment into a platform which allows other businesses to harness the power of that ecosystem. And in a way, Matthew touched about creating a cybersecurity platform, an IoT platform, an AI platform. That's the work that the telecoms have cut out in terms of really transforming these. It could be done through adjacencies like banking, but again, not all of these will have to be done by the telcos themselves. That's the key point. It will be done through massive partnerships. Partnerships with the telecom industry, the equipment manufacturing industry, the information technology industry, and that's important. Where does our credibility come from in talking about these things? Well, we have a front row seat in today in most of these transitions that we are observing, and we are participating in executing both radical cost changes as well as creating ecosystems for these organizations. To sum up my view, I would gravitate back to the grand version of the vision and say we will still land up at the grand version, but with clarity on, so long as we have clarity on the fundamental changes we need to make. And this one's a partnership journey that we'll have to all do together. Thank you very much.
Again, given the paucity of time, Honorable Secretary, Mrs. Sundarajan, thank you very much for hosting this and for being part of this. And for all of our CEOs, thank you for your inputs and for your comments. We will be going on to the next session, which is the inaugural. Please do come and continue to join us as part of our audience this time. So please, thank you very much for your views and talk.
We are about to begin the inaugural session, requesting you all to kindly be seated. Request you all to please settle down. The ministers are here. They are entering the hall. Request you all to please settle down. The ministers have arrived. They are entering the room, requesting you all to please settle down.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd please like you to take your seats. The honorable ministers are here, and we will be beginning the inaugural session, so please take your seats immediately. We will be beginning the inaugural session of IMC. So please take your seats. The dignitaries are arriving to take their places on the dais. Please take your seats. We'd appreciate it if you could take your seats. Thank you. Please take your seats. The media is kindly requested to take your seats as well, please. Request you to please take your seats. Thank you very much for the photo opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats again. Media friends from the media, please take your seats. We will be commencing. We will be commencing our ceremonies in the inauguration session by recognizing the dignity of our nation. So we have with us the Indian Naval Band that will be leading us in the national anthem of our dear country. So I would request all of you all to please stand at this particular point. The media is kindly requested to show appropriate dignity to our national anthem. Please refrain from interrupting while the national anthem is being played, the national anthem of the great Republic of India. Thank you. तब शुभ आशीष माहे जाहे तब शुभ दादा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Honorable Mr. Manoj Sinha, sir, Honorable Minister of State and Independent Charge for Communications and Minister of State for Railways and Government, who is our inaugurating minister for this particular function, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, sir, Honorable Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, Law and Justice, the Government of India, sir, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, Honorable Minister of Petroleum, Natural Gas, and Minister of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, Mr. Satish Mahana, Honorable Minister of Industrial Development of Uttar Pradesh. Again, our industry seniors, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, Chairman, Reliance Industries, Mr. Sunil Bharti Mittal, Founder and Chairman of Bharti Enterprises, Mrs. Aruna Sundarajan, our Secretary of the IT and Chairman of the Telecom Commission and Telecom, and Mr. Shivasalan, Joint Secretary of the Department of Telecom. Sir, welcome to all of you dignitaries on the stage. It is my very great pleasure to have all of you all invited to IMC, India Mobile Congress, which attempts to place India on the roadmap of highlighting what this country can do, not only for this country, but for the global place. And so this is our intention and attempt to showcase India taking its rightful place in the global leadership of the nations of the world. And we are so happy that so many of our embassy folks, excellencies from the various embassies, are also present to showcase their support and recognition of where India stands today in the global forum. So without any further ado, may I kindly request Mrs. Sundarajan, our Telecom Secretary, to please give the welcome address.
Shri Manoj Sinha ji, Honorable Minister of State for Communications and Minister of State for Railways, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, Honorable Minister of Electronics and IT and Law and Justice, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, Honorable Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Minister of Skill Development, Shri Satish Mahana ji, Honorable Minister of Industrial Development, Government of UP, Shri Mukesh Ambani, Chairman, Reliance Industries Limited, Shri Sunil Bharti Mittal, Chairman, Bharti Enterprises, Additional Secretary, IT, Your Excellencies, CEOs from the telecom and IT fraternity, country delegations, senior government officers, startups, guests, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you to this 3-day international conference and exhibition, the India Mobile Congress 2017, organized by the Department of Telecommunications, along with the Cellular Operators Association of India and other stakeholders. It is my absolute pleasure to be present here this morning amongst this august gathering and to welcome all of you to this historic event. The India Mobile Congress promises to finally be that one platform that will signal to the rest of the world that India is not only key to the global telecommunications ecosystem, but that in many ways it is also leading the way. The Honorable Prime Minister's vision of a fully connected and a digitally empowered India is well on its way to realization under the dynamic leadership of our honorable ministers present here today. And we have much to share with the world through the unique platform that it has already created. Indeed, as many of you would have read in the newspapers today, as acknowledged by Satya Nadella, with Aadhaar, Jan Dhan, and the mobile which we are celebrating here today, and applications like the BEAM, the UPI, India is already pioneering the creation of a new digital ecosystem in the world. India, therefore, is not merely following best practice, but actually beginning to set the next practice. The India Mobile Congress 2017, India's first and largest ever global mobile internet and technology event, will surely act as a platform to showcase our champion sectors in telecom and IT, our global leadership in innovation, in design, in manufacturing, and in creating next generation platforms, products, and services. The very business model for delivery of communication services that is today widely prevalent across the world has largely been pioneered and honed in India. We are therefore proud today to offer New Delhi and India as a venue for collaboration and co-creation in this space. While we have the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona in the East and the Mobile World Congress Shanghai, the India Mobile Congress shall be India's marquee event to showcase India's deep capabilities and diverse strengths in the sectors of telecom, IT, and internet to the world. The government of India is committed to ensuring that this event and platform emerges as one of the foremost of its kind in the world, and we will spare no efforts in this direction. The telecom and IT sectors have already made global history with their growth and are today underpinning India's flagship programs, whether they are Make in India, Skill India, Smart Cities, or Digital India. We believe that the success of these programs and the role that the telecom and IT sectors have played in them would drive greater investment and innovation in the years to come. This event, I may mention here, is truly multi-stakeholder and features a leadership summit, a conclave, exhibitions, and awards. This 3-day event will have over 21 sessions with themes addressing Digital India, internet governance, smart networks, digital identity, women in technology, emerging technologies in a 5G future, cloud and virtualization, Make in India, and many others. I am glad to note that we have 300 exhibitors, 60 startups, 2,000 delegates, and 8 country delegations for this event. I am also happy to mention that the theme that has been chosen for the event, Connecting the Unconnected, is a theme that has deep resonance for this government. I would like to highlight here, on behalf of the entire telecom sector, both private and public, our singular commitment and efforts to ensure that every part of India and every Indian is enabled to join and partake of the digital revolution and its benefits. By connecting every Indian with broadband and the next generation networks of the future. I would like to mention here that in BharatNet, under the leadership of the honorable ministers here, we have witnessed a 7-fold acceleration in the pace of implementation of this project. And we fully expect to connect 1 lakh Gram Panchayats by the end of this year. We also plan to roll out 1 million Wi-Fi hotspots by 2019. And with the combined efforts of the government and the telecom giants here, we do expect that 700 million Indians will be having access to the internet by 2022. Therefore, let me utilize this platform to specifically acknowledge and thank the efforts of our champions from industry who have taken India to a leadership position in both access and coverage, with extraordinarily affordable data and voice tariffs, handsets and devices, and attractive and cutting-edge products and services. Their offerings have truly touched and transformed the life of 1.2 billion Indians. I believe this IMC 2019 represents 3 specific opportunities for India. The first, to see how India can position itself as a global leader in the exciting, emerging world of new technologies and 5G, of IoT, big data, AI, robotics, augmented reality, and all the associated new technologies that come along with it. Second, we believe that we have an unprecedented opportunity for Make in India and Design in India, so that we can not only create the jobs and livelihoods that our people need, but also exploit the capabilities and talent that we have in manufacturing, software, design, etc. And lastly, we believe that we have an opportunity to grow together rather than alone, as the world moves into an era of convergence and sharing. That is where we believe that this IMC, whose key objective is to bring together all diverse stakeholders to create value together, is of huge relevance and importance. We believe that this conference will indeed catalyze and enable constructive discussions with stakeholders and accelerates the creation of jobs and livelihoods for Indians, as well as unleash innovation and creativity, paving the way for the growth of a robust digital ecosystem in the country. I wish you all a very good conference, a great exhibition, and congratulate COAI and Mr. Rajan Matthews on organizing this excellent event. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sundarajan, for that kind words. I must say that without the encouragement of our Honorable Minister, Mr. Sinha, and the DOT, sir, and from you, Madam, in making this a reality, this has become a reality with the input and the guidance that we have received. You are a parent organization in that sense, and you've really helped put this on the map. So thank you very much to our Honorable Minister, as well as to our Honorable Secretary. With that, if there's any question that India is now on the global map, that will be disabused by Mr. Rajan Anandan, who is the Vice President, Southeast Asia and India of Google, one of our largest global companies. Mr. Anandan will give us the principal partner felicitation. As you will notice, he is one of our main sponsors, and again shows the global investments that are being made in India. So, Mr. Anandan, please.
Honorable Ministers, distinguished leaders on the panel, captains of industry, and leaders of the world's most dynamic internet ecosystem. Good morning, everyone, and I wanted to start by congratulating IMC for launching in India first. I think on the previous panel we heard that maybe our ambition should be to become the 3rd largest in the world, but I think I'm sure our 2 ministers would agree that we should definitely have the largest mobile congress in the world, hopefully a few years from now. As all of you know, India is at a very, very interesting point. Over the last several years, we've seen the emergence of, without question today, the most dynamic, the most interesting, the most competitive internet ecosystem in the world. India today has over 400 million internet users, 300 million of them access the internet on their smartphones, and very interestingly, 200 million Indians access the internet every single day on their smartphones. And today, India is adding more connected smartphone users every single month than any other country in the world. What is also interesting is what's happened over the last year. As all of you know, thanks to several of the leaders on this distinguished dais, we've got the world's most affordable data plans. The most affordable broadband, mobile broadband in the world actually is in India today. And as Indians have got access to this level of connectivity, we've started seeing them do things we've never seen before. 48% of all airline tickets bought in India today are actually bought online. And by the year 2020, over 100 million Indians will buy airline tickets online. 70 million Indians shop online today. Binny Bansal was actually on the dais just a while ago, and we've created several billion-dollar e-commerce companies. And in fact, by the year 2025, the leading company in e-commerce in India is likely to be worth north of $50 billion, which would make it today one of the most valuable companies in the world. Close to 50 million Indians access education content online. In fact, the largest company when it comes to teaching English in India today is a startup from Jaipur that only has 25 people in it. And 44 million Indians look for jobs online every single month. This is just a slice of an incredibly healthy and growing digital ecosystem with huge potential to scale. And by the year 2020, India will have north of 600 million connected users, and we actually believe that over 500 million Indians will access the internet every single day by the year 2020. The underlying theme here is that India's internet landscape is incredibly dynamic and also very competitive. And companies that build products that cater to the needs of India, the billion Indians, will see unprecedented growth and scale very, very quickly. This approach has been central to everything that Google as a company has been doing in India. Our mission in India is simple, is internet for every Indian. And we've leveraged this approach to systematically address all the major barriers that prevent Indians from getting on the internet. We started with access. We launched a very successful public-private partnership with Indian Railways and RailTel. Today we are in over 150 railway stations where we provide very high-speed public free Wi-Fi. And already 6.5 million Indians access this network every single month. And this initiative, we believe, has catalyzed the renewed interest in public Wi-Fi network systems, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that very, very soon. We're also very excited about all the different initiatives under Digital India, under Startup India, and under Skilling in India. And we strongly believe that the $1 trillion ambition that the government has set for Digital India is not only going to be achieved, but we're hoping, honorable ministers, we will actually get to that number much sooner than over the next 7 or 8 years. A recent study by ICRIER estimates that a 10% increase in India's total internet traffic delivers on average a 3.3% increase in India's GDP. And by 2020, the internet economy in India will contribute over $500 billion of incremental GDP to India. And clearly with all this growth, we're going to see the emergence of very large industries. The e-commerce industry, which was only about $15 billion last year, will get to $60 billion by the year 2020 and over $200 billion by the year 2025. Digital payments, which was virtually non-existent 2 years ago, will actually get to over $500 billion over the next several years. In fact, I don't know how many of you have thought of this. India today is the only country where a bank account can be opened in 2 or 3 minutes. And India is the only country where our leading private sector and public sector lenders are able to give a personal loan in a remote part of India in a matter of seconds. And that entire journey has been enabled by the incredible underlying infrastructure that has been built, not just the mobile connectivity that we've delivered to hundreds of millions of Indians, but really Aadhaar, UPI, and the entire India stack. And as Google, we believe that the biggest companies in the world get built by addressing the biggest problems of large numbers of people. And in India, in a country of 1.3 billion, we have innumerable sets of challenges and opportunities that can be addressed by connected users and this incredible underlying infrastructure that has been built. As Google, we are very committed to working with the entire ecosystem to solve these many, many problems. And we do believe that using technology, using this large connected user base, and the incredible focus that the government of India has had, these problems will get solved. I want to wrap by letting all of you know that I think India is at a very, very interesting point. We believe that the most interesting companies that India is going to invent over the next 10 to 15 years have not been invented yet. We believe that they will all be Indian companies. And what's most interesting to us is, as one of the top recruiters at India's leading engineering colleges, it used to be even 2 or 3 years ago, we were able to attract the top 1% of candidates in India. And honorable ministers, you would be glad to know that today we are not able to. The top 1% of India today, they don't want to work for any company. They want to invent for India, they want to build for India, and they want to solve for India. Thank you very much, and wish you all the very best with the conference.
Thank you, Anand. You can see why companies like Google are flocking to our shores here in India, and again, the vision that is being laid out is just tremendous. And so with that, I'm going to invite Mr. Jason Barney to take the podium. But before I do, I just want to recognize the fact that you always supersize things. There's not an industry that you enter which does not benefit from size and scope and scale and the magnitude of the investments that you have made. And telecom, sir, has been no different. And so please share with us what you see for this industry and for this country going ahead, sir. Thank you.
Most respected Shri Manoj Sinha ji, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, Srimati Aruna Sundaran ji, my good friend from the industry, Sunil Mittal, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm good morning to each and every one of you. Today is a proud day for all of us to be at the first Indian Mobile Congress. My compliments to the Government of India, Shri Manoj Sinha ji, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, and the COAI and their entire team for conceptualizing and organizing this event. An event, I believe, that signals that India is one of the biggest telecom and digital markets in the world. The Indian Mobile Congress will soon become a must-attend global event. India has leapfrogged from a lowly 155th in mobile broadband penetration to being the world's largest mobile data consuming nation, #1 in the world in just the last 1 year. The pace at which the Indian mobile industry has grown is unparalleled in the world. Friends, I believe that in the next 10 years, the Indian economy will grow from the present $2.5 trillion to over $7 trillion a year and rank among the top 3 economies in the world. And to make this happen, the Indian telecom and IT industry has to play a foundational role in creating the digital infrastructure. As a nation, we missed out on the first 3 industrial revolutions, namely mechanization, mass production, and automation. The 4th industrial revolution, which is fueled by connectivity, data, and artificial intelligence, has begun. India now has the opportunity to lead the fourth industrial revolution, which is set to usher in more dramatic transformations globally than the three previous revolutions in the next 20 years. The mobile internet and cloud computing are the foundational technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. Data is the new oil. India does not need to import it. We have it in superabundance. It will be a new source of value and will create opportunities and prosperity for India and millions of Indians. Dear friends, as an industry, we have the urgent task of empowering 1.3 billion Indians with the tools needed to flourish in the digital marketplace. Data is the oxygen of a digital economy. We cannot deprive Indians of this vital, life-sustaining resource. We have to provide ubiquitous access to high-speed data at affordable prices. At the same time, we have to ensure that every Indian has access to an affordable smartphone that connects him to the limitless knowledge and the power of the internet. Young Indians, who account for 63% of our nation's population, have the competence to build a new digital business, exactly as Rajan said. They are bustling with ideas and entrepreneurial energy. If we give them the right tools and create the right ecosystem, they will transform India into a nation of 1 million startups and one of the foremost economies in the world, which brings prosperity to all its 1.3 billion people. The Indian mobile market is now overflowing with data. All of us have worked to create a robust digital circulatory system to carry data to each one of our 1.3 billion Indians, including those living in the remotest village. I believe that 4G coverage in India will become larger than 2G coverage within the next 12 months. There is an urgent need to apply the revolutionary powers of digital technologies to India's pressing needs and challenges. Today, I want to submit 3 must-do tasks for the consideration of both government and our industry to fulfill our Prime Minister's Digital India vision and his New India vision. First, we must explore and implement innovative ideas to generate employment, self-employment, and income generation opportunities for millions of Indian youth. We must foster confidence in the society that new technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, cloud computing, big data analytics, 3D printing, blockchain, nanotechnology are all enablers of a new wealth of employment and wealth for all. I believe that we must specially tap the potential of these new technologies to transform and create jobs in the rural and agricultural sectors. Second, digital technologies can be a boon for achieving our national priorities for energy security, water security, and resource security. New sources of energy and new models of transportation with unparalleled efficiencies have become possible thanks to the convergence of several technologies. India must embark on the task of connecting everything and everyone via the super internet of things. This will enable 130 crore Indians to collaborate directly with one another and democratizing economic life like never before. Third, our nation's human capital is our greatest asset. Therefore, digitization of education, skill training, and human resource development in a comprehensive manner must be regarded as a precondition for the success of Digital India. To accomplish all these tasks, the telecom and the IT industry will have to partner with every sector of the economy and government, every business and every institution, from the biggest to the smallest. Dear friends, to realize our beloved Prime Minister's Digital India dream to the fullest, we have to start by becoming the change that we seek to create. We have to invest in building next-generation technology assets. We have to root out inefficiencies across the digital ecosystem, and we must break silos and forge partnerships. No single corporate, nor the government, can do it alone. Together, we can achieve the unimaginable. Let's not forget, India provides a big enough opportunity for all of us to grow and prosper together. The opportunity to pave the path for our nation's progress and create a better quality of life for every Indian beckons us. To turn this opportunity into reality should be the clarion call of this first Indian Mobile Congress. Today, we are an unstoppable nation. May God bless our nation as we journey to an exciting and glorious future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambani, sir. As always, vision casting has always been your strengths in terms of giving us a vision of optimism and progress for the country, and you've not disappointed in laying out what that future holds for us. Oil and data is the new oil. You don't need to believe in importing anything anymore. So that's a clarion call to us in terms of the resources, our youth as a skill base, and partnerships as the way forward in terms of developing this nation, sir. Thank you very much for giving us that target to which we need to strive as part of IMC as well. So thank you very much, sir. With that, we would like to go over to a video clip from Mr. Vittorio Colau, who is the chairman of Vodafone Group and the Chief Executive Officer of the Vodafone Group PLC. He could not join us because of his commitments, but we have a video clip that he has asked to be shared with the honorable folks on the dais as well as the participants. So with that, I'd request the message from Mr. Colau to be played. Thank you.
Senior officials of the government, assembled dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to share my thoughts today at the first Indian Mobile Congress. Unfortunately, I cannot be with you today, but I look forward to attending future editions. And I thank DOT and COAI for giving me this opportunity. So, the role of telecom in the last 2 decades has been crucial in transforming the lives of individuals, society, and nations, and Vodafone is playing a significant role in this transformation globally. But in India, specifically, we had a very long-term commitment to the government's Digital India project. The PM Modi has rightly focused on digitization, on smart governance, on startups, on ease of doing business, and these are the right elements to take India forward. Now, Vodafone is in India the largest FDI investor with over 1,340 billion rupees invested already. We offer, as you probably all know, high-quality connectivity across India to over 210 million customers, and I'm very proud that 50% of those are in rural areas. India's biggest strength, we all know, is having a very young and talented workforce. Vodafone employs and has trained more than 10,000 young Indians. They manage our global networks on behalf of the other operations of Vodafone, and therefore they support also the Make in India for the World vision of President Modi. Let's talk a bit about consumers. Indian consumers have a very strong appetite for data services, but still over 500 million people have not connected to the internet, and these are great opportunities for all. To realize India's full potential as a superpower, it's essential that the telecom sector, which is a core driver of economic development, is in good health. Telecom will be a key enabler of a future-fit India, and we have always to remember that telecoms enable other sectors, including healthcare, including education, and catalyzes innovation. So our mission as Vodafone, we write it everywhere, is to connect, to live a better today and build a better tomorrow. Our focus is essentially of new offers for consumers and business customers beyond voice.